The year is 1998. The Chicago Bulls' dominance is coming to an end. Seinfeld's dominance is coming to an end. Our head of state dominance is skip that one. But somewhere in the Midwestern region of America, there is a young kid who is just beginning his dominance. A kid with a lot of highs and lows. Today, we will be highlighting his first extremely low, which absolutely devastated a 9-year-old me, which will be part 1 of my most painful moments as a sports fan.
You look at these Vikings, John, and they have scored more points than anybody ever has in the history of the NFL. Today they play Atlanta. How do they start to work against the Falcons?
Well, they just have to keep doing what they've done all year. I mean, this is really their year. I mean, everything they've done has been extraordinary, from the job that head coach Denny Green has done. Randall Cunningham has just been superb. And then you say Randy Moss, and you have Chris Carter, Robert Smith running. And I think today they just continue that. Now, if they're vulnerable anywhere, this Minnesota Viking team, it's on their defense. If they can't do that, then that opens up everything. Not only the run, but the play pass for Chris Chandler.
These Atlanta Falcons put together a regular season record of 14-2, 14 victories they had. Yet they're still the visiting team. That's never happened before in the history of the NFL, when a team won 14, and yet they're the visitor. Chandler will cut them to pieces.
And Reeves said they wanted to get off to a quick start. They sure as heck are.
Split backs this time.
And this is where the crowd noise is the loudest.
Chandler drops. Up the middle, touchdown. Jamal Anderson out of the backfield.
And there's the Dirty Birds. They do that Dirty Bird whether they're home or on the road, and get out there and you know, anytime Randall Cunningham sees man-to-man, he's just going to throw a jump ball like he did there.
That's a wise thing to do. Here's Cunningham again, going deep. Out of the end zone. Touchdown! He's in the end zone. Randy Moss. Took him a long time to make the call.
What a player. He tells Randall Cunningham, just chuck it out there, dog.
Split back situation this time again. Chandler has time, gets it out of the backfield to Harold Green, who had it and lost it. The Vikings are saying we got it back if he had it.
Look at this fucking guy.
The only guy that didn't move at the same time was the center. That was one of Brian Billick's tricks that I think kind of backfired on him, huh?
Gary Anderson puts the Vikings ahead. He is still perfect. Minnesota 10, Atlanta 7. John Randall on the sideline, you saw. Chandler back to throw it. O.J. Santiago, his tight end, and another loose ball. Fumble.
I'm sorry, man.
Hey, you see what they did to Chris Chandler after that play? Stalin Collinet almost knocked him out.
They got 3 points off their first turnover, Minnesota did. Now they've got another one. Moss comes in motion, and Cunningham is going to work. There's a screen pass to Moss.
He was special.
And Randy Moss, who's got great speed, gets down to the 15. Dixon is back in the offensive line for Minnesota in place of Lindsey. Cunningham crouches under the center. He's going straight ahead and dives into the end zone. Randall's wife, Felicity. And the Atlanta defense. Cunningham. Incomplete. Had it and lost it. It was Randy Moss streaking across the end zone.
Yeah, and that's where Randall Cunningham has been so great this year. You see him? I mean, immediately he puts his hands up and he says, that's okay. Because here, Randy Moss, you see the great speed that he has. And we know about the size and everything. and he has to catch that one. I mean, it would have been a great catch.
Yep.
But I'll tell you, Randall Cunningham makes very close to a perfect throw there.
And that's all he's done all day.
And he thought it was a touchdown.
That was close.
But at some point they have to let him play. I mean, that was probably pass interference, but at some point you have to let those guys play.
Anderson from 35 yards out. It's 20-7.
Jason Fisk was coming free up the middle.
Here's Chandler. Drops it out to Anderson. And Jamal Anderson. Chandler drops it out to Anderson. And Jamal Anderson steps out of a couple of tackles, gets out of bounds.
I know that's easy for me to say.
Howie.
But an old lineman should never be seen having that done.
Did you ever think you see that?
No, that's why linemen always wear big face masks to cover up how ugly they were. Receivers that I never felt was a necessary part of the game.
3rd and 10. Cunningham drops. Moss goes deep. Cunningham lost the ball somehow. Pump fake, and he lost it. Atlanta says they have it.
Well, if they did, we just said what Atlanta needs is a turnover, and this would be a big one if they get this.
They got it. Jamal Anderson is the deep back. Mathis in motion. Chandler drops. Touchdown, just like that. Terrence Mathis.
Control to make the kinds of moves that he does.
Has magnificent hands, too. Cunningham drops. Has time. Touchdown. Matthew Hatchett.
He wanted him to go out and up.
The Falcons are, no question about it, having trouble hearing. Chandler going deep. He's got a man open. Caught by Tony Martin. Martin down at about the 8-yard line.
What a throw by Chris Chandler.
Almost got to throw it in the end zone. Chandler looks. Incomplete. Intended for Mathis. Bounced off his hand. Would have been a tough catch.
Now the thing that Chandler has to be thinking here, down, by 10 points, that they need a field goal and they need a touchdown, so they have to be, they don't want to force anything here because you want the worst thing that can happen to you in this situation. That ball should have been caught.
Could have been caught. It was right there from Chandler.
And that's what Chandler is saying.
Morton Anderson hits it. By the time they start this, less than that.
Matthew Hatchett's caught 4 passes. About Randy Moss having that bad stomach.
Here comes the blitz. The ball's loose. Atlanta's saying we got it, and they do. Atlanta gets the turnover. Shane Dronette. I agree. Mathis is the move man. Chandler back to throw. Incomplete. Knocked away. And Anderson hasn't missed in 2 years.
You better slow down, because you're finna say something you're gonna regret. You better just quiet down, nigga.
So that's a pretty good bet if you say, do you think Gary Anderson will make this field goal? The answer should probably be yes.
39 yards away. And it's not good. The Falcons have 1 timeout. They have the ball as Anderson misses. Pulled it left. Chandler from the shotgun. Has a man open. That's Ronnie Harris. Chandler drops quickly. Throws incomplete. Almost picked off. Almost intercepted by a diving Robert Griffith.
Yeah, that's that old zone where, if you look at the Vikings, they had 6 guys back there. Coach Fazio says we're going to zone that end zone. Now Dan Reeves is calling the plays.
Yep.
I think we saw earlier where Jack Berg was calling the plays. Now we saw Dan Reeves was telling Steve DeBerg to play.
And DeBerg is the backup quarterback if Chandler can't continue. But it looks like he is going to continue.
Chandler threw a couple on this drive that weren't spirals.
Yep. 2nd and 10, he drops. Out of the pocket.
Touchdown.
End zone, touchdown. Touchdown, Atlanta.
Holy
Brother,
mother!
do you go for two?
No, heck no, you don't go for two. You got to tie it up. The first thing you have to do is you have to get tied, then you go for a win. I mean, I'm sure that is one thing that never crossed Dan Reeves' mind.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Mathis.
Green is in shock.
Mathis held on.
But did Chris Chandler, look at him read, buy a little time, and when he sees Mathis, does he drill that thing for a day?
It certainly does. Randy Moss, our information was that he'd hurt a stomach muscle. This is Leroy Horde, the deep back. But Moss still plays. Cunningham drops to throw it. Outside Horde. Gets away from one man. Gets away from two men. Gets the first down for Minnesota at their own 40. Cunningham drops again. Here comes the rush, but he gets it. Ball knocked down. Dixon picked it up. The Dixon fumble. And the Vikings, the Falcons say we got it.
Yeah, but see that official right here, Pat? He was pointing to the ground.
Saying it was down. And now the Falcons have their chance in overtime.
So blind in his right eye. And then he has to, if you're the Vikings, you don't want him to go any further than this. And if you're Atlanta, you're trying to get first down.
Chandler back to throw it. Going deep for Santiago. And he got it. Across midfield.
Have to have 11 guys. I'm surprised they don't take him out and play nickel.
First down.
They ran that play to put it right in the middle, too.
In case there's a bad snap, they can fall on it and at least have another chance.
Yeah, and after Jamal Anderson got a couple of those runs, they didn't need any more, and they just wanted to get it in the middle for Morton Anderson to kick it. Ooh, is this place quiet now?
Yes, it is.
The Vikings are going to take a timeout.
And just think back to Gary Anderson, who hadn't missed in almost 2 years. Here's the one he pulled.
You blew it! Yep, and that's what makes football football.
This is Morton Anderson. Their careers just parallel, the two kickers. Red McCombs. That was not a very enthusiastic clap.
You know, it's funny that Morton Anderson is going to be kicking from about the same exact spot where Gary Anderson missed his. But isn't this something? I mean, you talk about the game and the offense and the defense and the coaches and the Vikings and the dome and the noise, and the whole game comes down to the kicker. I mean, the kicker, Morton Anderson right now, is the difference between the Falcons going to the Super Bowl or maybe the Vikings going to the Super Bowl.
Well, he's handled the pressure before from 39 yards out. Anderson is good. He knows it. They know it.
Congratulations! Oh my God. All right. All jokes and memes and gifs aside, this was a great game. Two extremely dominant teams in order to get to this point. I think we should all forgive Gary Anderson. Specifically, Randall Cunningham gets to fumble. Randy Moss literally dropped a touchdown in which Gary Anderson scored the field goal on that drive. So, like Terrell Owens said, they lost as a team. As an adult now, this game doesn't really hit nearly as much as it did as a child. It's still a bit disappointing, but when you lose to a team that was 14-2, you can't really be mad at that. It's nowhere near an upset. It's just a great game. Part 2 is probably really going to hurt my feelings though.